I'm Noreen and welcome to my kitchen and another episode of What's for Dinner. Today we're thinking Easter and we're going to make an amazing rolled apricot glazed and stuffed pork roast. So come on along and let's see how we do that. We're ready to make this amazing apricot stuffed and glazed rolled pork loin, and it really is going to be simple. Now make sure that you preheat your oven to about 375, and I've got my oven preheating over there. So we've got our roll cut pork loin, so it's sort of like butterflying but not, and I showed you how to do this in another video, so you'll be able to go over there and refer. This is really simple. Now what I'm going to take here is a couple of tablespoons of grainy mustard, and we're just going to spread that on the meat just like this. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to kind of make our little stuffing here. I have about a cup of dried breadcrumbs, just like you would buy. I happen to buy the seasoned ones today because that's what I grabbed and I put in my cart. What I'm going to put in here though is I'm going to season it even more. I'm going to put about a quarter of a teaspoon of ground rosemary, and this is rosemary actually from my garden that I ground up myself. This is some poultry seasoning, and I'm going to put a healthy dose of that in there because pork and poultry seasoning go together like Forrest and Jenny. Some onion powder, about a teaspoon. And some garlic powder, about the same. Now I like to use dry garlic powder, and I also use fresh. So here we have some chopped garlic. I'm going to give this a mix. And I have about 6 cloves of garlic. That's finely minced. And we're just going to get that in there. And if you mix it up really well, it will disperse among those dry breadcrumbs and it will not clump together. Okay, now at this point, you add whatever other seasonings that you prefer. If you like to add a little bit of pepper or red pepper flake or whatever you like, you go ahead and toss that in there. So I'm going to add some butter. And I melted a stick of butter. I'm going to use about half of it. And then we're going to see where we are. We want our breadcrumbs to be moist, but we don't want them to be runny. We want the breadcrumb to soak up the butter, but we don't want there to be too much dry. And this is where I get my hands in here. And I'm going to get my hands dirty. But I want to disperse that butter among the breadcrumbs because I want everything to be moistened just a little bit by that butter. You don't want this to be runny. You don't want this to be liquidy at all. So I would say about 4 tablespoons of butter is about all you're going to need. Now I'm going to take this, get it all, and just kind of spread it over the meat. This reminds me of a recipe that my mom used to make when I was growing up. She never made it like for family dinner. She always made it when I was small. My mom used to entertain quite a bit. So when she would have dinner parties, she would make like stuffed chicken breasts and stuffed pork chops. And she used to make a stuffed pork chop recipe that had like a moist breadcrumb in it. And it had like apples and raisins, and it was really awesome. Now what I'm going to do is I have some dried apricots here that I had soaking in some warm water. You can soak these in orange juice or apple juice or pineapple juice or whatever is your, you know, what's your jam? I mean, what do you like? That's what you can soak these in. It's awesome. I'm going to go ahead and tear some of these open. Okay, now we roll. And make sure you don't squeeze it too hard, otherwise you'll displace things. There you go. Bring it on over. And now we're going to tie it. Okay, Now I'm going to go grab my pan and we'll set this up to roast. Okay, now I am just going to put some onions around here. I have some really beautiful, like they're baby onions, and they're not like miniature ones, but they're smaller and they're sweet onions, and I'm just going to put these around the roast. You can choose to put whatever vegetables you like in here. You can put some carrots, some celery, and it'll just perfume the meat beautifully. These onions are going to roast along with the meat, and they're going to caramelize, and they're going to get delicious, and you're going to be able to enjoy them right next to your roast. Now, we're going to roast this at 375 for about 45 minutes, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to turn down the oven to 350, and we're going to continue roasting it until a meat thermometer registers 160 degrees. When it's about 10 minutes before that, we're going to glaze this with some apricot glaze. And I have just my homemade apricot pineapple jam we're going to be putting on the outside of this pork roast, and it's going to be phenomenal. So, I'm also going to add some of my homemade chicken stock down to the bottom here. This is going to help give it some moisture while it's roasting. And there you go. I'm going to pop this right in the oven. And it's going to go take a little nap. And when it's time to turn the temperature down, I'll bring you back and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, I took this temperature of this roast. And we're at just about 140 degrees right now. So this is the perfect time to go ahead and glaze it. We're going to pop the glaze on here. And then we're going to pop her back in the oven. And we're going to roast her until she hits 160. So, let's see here. I have a cup, or it's a jelly jar of my home canned apricot pineapple jam. Looks like we had a bit of a blowout, but it's all good. Don't worry about it. And I'm just going to pour this over the top. And you can just use plain apricot jam. You can use pineapple preserves, whatever is your preference. I love this pineapple apricot jam. I think it is awesome as a glaze for ham, a pork roast. It's fabulous on a chicken breast. You know, you can put it on a lot of things. I love it on toast. It's probably my favorite jam ever. And I'm just going to go ahead and put it all on here. So that's about a cup of the jam I'm glazing. And I also thinned it out with about a half a cup, what was left in the jar, of my chicken stock.
Drip.
Did it drip? I'll take care of that. Okay. Now, we're going to pop this back in. I'm reducing the heat to 350. And we're going to roast this and baste it maybe every 20 minutes or so until you reach 160 degrees. So in it goes, and we'll be back when it's time to take it out. Our roast has come out of the oven, and we are sitting nicely at 170 degrees. That's perfect. Anywhere between 160 and 180 degrees is where you want your pork. You don't really want it to be too overdone. I like to err on the lower end of that spectrum because your pork doesn't need to be well done. It needs to be perfectly done, and that means it's just ever so slightly pink in the center. If pork is too well done, it becomes dry and tough and very unpleasant to eat. So now what we have to do is we have to allow this to sit for about 15 to 20 minutes to rest. You don't want to cut into this right away simply because all of the juices will cook out. And I'm so excited to try this because it looks incredible. When we come back, we'll slice it up and we'll show you what it looks like. All right, we're going to slice into our gorgeous, gorgeous roast here. Look at that. Look at that. That is a beautiful piece of meat. We've got the stuffing and the apricots. And I have to tell you folks, this is outstanding. It's like outrageously delicious. and everything is scooching over. And that's how you make a gorgeous roll cut, apricot stuffed and glazed pork loin roast. If that's not beautiful, I don't know what is. So, I hope that you try this, and I hope that you love it. And until next time, I'll see ya. Thank you for joining me in my kitchen today. I hope you liked what you watched today, and I hope that you try it, and I hope that you love it. If you like what you saw, please consider hitting the thumbs up button and giving me a positive rating. And also, make sure that you hit the subscribe button if you're already not a subscriber so that you don't miss out on any of the fun we have here in our kitchen every single day. You can also follow me on Facebook and Twitter and Pinterest and Instagram and Google Plus and Blogger. I have a blog over there, and you can take a look at that. You can subscribe to that feed as well. And don't forget that every recipe that you see me do here on YouTube, with the exception of a few earlier ones, you can access all of the recipes over on my website, noreenskitchen.com, where you will find printer-friendly versions of those recipes so you can print them out and keep them for your own. So, I hope that you enjoyed it. I'm really glad that you're here. Thank you for stopping by. Don't forget to come by tomorrow. Until next time, happy eating!